Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, April 19th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect mostly cloudy skies and a high of 74 degrees in San Antonio today. Early voting is set to begin today for local elections, including heavily contested races for San Antonio mayor and city council seats, 2 propositions, and a number of suburban and local school district contests. We have a whole lot of information over on our website. We'll be keeping an eye out on the Sutherland Springs trial as it enters its 3rd week. On Friday, a leading researcher on mass shootings testified for the Air Force that the gunman targeted First Baptist Church to defend his second wife from embarrassment. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. Proposition B on San Antonio's May 1st ballot takes aim at the issue of police accountability by removing some power from the police officers' union and giving it to the city. If approved by voters, the proposition would repeal the San Antonio Police Officers Association's right to collectively bargain, which voters granted in 1974. Proponents of Prop B, led by a group called Fix SAPD, say the change would give the city greater latitude in labor negotiations, and they specifically want to put more teeth in the process for suspending or firing officers for misconduct. Opponents, led by the union, argue that the disciplinary rules could be altered without eliminating the union's right to collectively bargain. They say Prop B would make it harder for the city to recruit, leading to fewer officers on the street and slower response times. But city officials and one expert on labor law say arguments on both sides are a bit of a stretch. Head over to expressnews.com to read more. When the coronavirus halted Texas eviction proceedings in March 2020, no one expected that a patchwork of federal, state, and local government protections would disrupt evictions well into 2021. But it's now clear that the moratoriums and millions of dollars in government aid for tenants and landlords worked as intended. From April 2020 through March 2021, landlords in Bexar County filed less than half as many eviction lawsuits as in the same period a year earlier, according to court data. One of the most beneficial programs, according to tenants and landlords, stemmed from the city's decision early in the pandemic to launch one of the first and most robust housing assistance efforts in the country. Marina Starley-Freiker has more on the $87 million program in her latest article. Passengers, many of them vaccinated against COVID-19 and itching to travel again, are flying from San Antonio International Airport in the largest numbers since the pandemic upended the aviation industry 13 months ago. More than 11,000 travelers passed through the airport's Transportation Security Administration checkpoints April 12th, the highest number since March 10, 2020. From April 6th through the 12th, their daily numbers averaged 70% of the passenger count in the same period in 2019. That counts as a marked improvement. Most days over the last year, passenger traffic was down between 60% and 70% from the year before. Randy Diamond takes a closer look at the numbers in his latest article. Heading to San Antonio's southwest side for some door-to-door campaigning, Mayor Ron Nirenberg has a particular date in mind. April 19th is the start of early voting. Then there's May 1st, Election Day, when Nirenberg will learn whether San Antonio voters are satisfied with how he's handled the pandemic and will award him a 3rd consecutive term. But for the moment, Nirenberg's thinking of another date, August 20th. Mark your calendars, the 44-year-old mayor says. That's when some hard rock giants of yesteryear, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, Joan Jett, and the Heartbreakers are playing the Alamo Dome. Ron Nirenberg, policy wonk, unflappable television presence during the pandemic, one-time head of a university jazz station, rocking out to Kickstart My Heart. When you get right down to it, the mayor is, well, kind of a normal dude. Check out Joshua Fechter's profile on the mayor over at expressnews.com. Head over to expressnews.com to check out our voter's guide on the May 1st city election. Early voting begins today. We have your guide to the May 1st election, including mayor, city council, school board races, and more over at expressnews.com. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. 3 people were shot to death Sunday in an apparent domestic disturbance that rattled Texas's capital city and a nation already on edge, coming amid a string of mass shootings across the country. A man who opened fire on bystanders and vehicles at San Antonio International Airport on Thursday was identified by a police source as 46-year-old Joe Gomez. His trouble with the law stretches back decades. Check out everything we know about Gomez over at expressnews.com. After major corporations criticized Georgia for adopting voter restrictions in the wake of Democratic wins there, the spotlight is shifting to Texas as Republican lawmakers advance similar legislation. A federal judge has denied an appeal of a bankruptcy court ruling preventing new owner of a San Antonio liquor business from transferring shares to a publicly traded company. It's the latest setback for Gabriel Investment Group Incorporated. The San Antonio Water System's Community Pipe Repair Fund has helped homeowners fix damage caused by the February storm. Find out if you qualify for the program and learn how to apply for aid over on our website. A federal waiver granting Texas billions of dollars to help cover emergency care for the uninsured was abruptly rescinded, a move that could upend the state's healthcare safety net and adds pressure on Republican leaders hesitant to expand Medicaid. San Antonio officials have named a new permanent director of the Metropolitan Health District. After 2 years of leadership shakeups at the agency, 53-year-old Claude Jacob will take the helm of Metro Health on July 6th. More than 600 San Antonio community members tuned in to a virtual accountability session where city politicians and candidates addressed police reform, workforce development, education, and February's power outages. We have the biggest takeaways over on our website. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick vowed to lead an effort to obtain a large chunk of state funding to honor the historic Alamo Mission and battle site with a new museum and plaza makeover, a $450 million project. The San Antonio area's unemployment rate dipped slightly in March, continuing an overall downward trend since April 2020's record joblessness levels. A Round Rock teenager has built her business at a scale and on a pace that most entrepreneurs could only dream about. Her product? Slime. Her method? She cracked the code on making viral videos for her customers, fellow tweens and teens. Frustrated by a string of controversies that have placed the Comal ISD under a spotlight, 19-year-old Brittany Soto is one of 5 candidates running for 2 seats on the fast-growing district's board in the May 1st election. The mayor shone during the pandemic's dark days, writes Greg Jefferson. Read his latest column on how signs of recovery augur well for his re-election. John Courage is being targeted by conservative Patrick Von Dolan in the District 9 race. Gilbert Garcia takes a closer look at the race, including Von Dolan's ads that proclaim, "John Courage, your socialist neighbor in District 9. If confirmed by the Senate, Rob Santos will become the first person of color and first Mexican-American to head the U.S. Census Bureau. In her latest column, Elena Ayala says Santos, a statistician with a social justice heart, has translated numbers off the page to people on the ground. This month, The Canopy by Hilton San Antonio Riverwalk will become the latest hotel to open during the pandemic. But don't read too much into that. The hospitality industry slump isn't over, though visitors are returning to the downtown streets and San Antonio's tourist attractions. The Canopy was already in the works when the coronavirus shut down almost everything more than a year ago. The 21-story hotel is scheduled to open Tuesday, and its management is taking no chances. Randy Diamond has that story in his latest article. This week in history, on April 25th, 1891, the first Battle of Flowers parade took place. Quote, by 5 o'clock, nearly every store on Commerce Street was closed, and a great many in Alamo Plaza and Houston Street are also closed. Streetcars and carriages poured their thousands in these streets, and around the Alamo Plaza, every balcony and housetop, every door and window, and other vantage points were packed and covered with people. That, according to a report by the San Antonio Light. In Texas barbecue, brisket is king. Chef and owner Jonah Perez was fully aware of that when he launched Nano's barbecue food truck about 6 months ago. His flavorful oak smoked brisket ranks amongst the area's best. Read our review of the food truck over at expressnews.com. The days are already getting warm, and we're going into our third year of lower than average rainfall. Calvin Finch explains how you can help the birds all summer long. And in his down-to-earth column, Neil Sperry addresses readers' questions about dwarf nandinas, live oak trees, and more. A pair of jaguars will roam overhead at the San Antonio Zoo on a $1.4 million 175-foot pathway this fall, giving the big cats a chance to wander down to the San Antonio River. The Express News all-area teams for boys basketball have been announced. See who stood out on the hardwood in our annual awards over at expressnews.com. The Bernie Greyhounds won the UIL Class 4A Boys Soccer Championship with a 3-1 victory Saturday over Fort Worth Diamond Hill Jarvis. In the 6A Boys Soccer Championship, Lee defeated Rockwall Heath 2-0 to bring another title to San Antonio. With DeMar DeRozan, Patty Mills, and Jakob Poeltl all resting Saturday night in Phoenix, rookie Devin Vassell's number was indeed called against the Suns, and he delivered. The Spurs take on the Pacers tonight in Indianapolis. And that's all for today. This was your Express briefing for Monday, April 19th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.